Canada 150. My first point is Canada rarely declares wars. They mainly just join them through allies. Canada usually holds on to declaring war on other countries. They always seem to wait for an ally country to declare war and request help before joining. This really shows how Canada is a country that's willing to back up who is with them. This means Canada doesn't get involved in a war without a reason, such as when Canada had previously battled against Iraq in the Gulf War. Canada didn't want to declare a war against Iraq, and the president at the time for Canada announced in Parliament on March 17, 2003, that Canada would not participate in the pending invasion. So this means Canada showed very little interest in the war. But yet Canada still heavily participated in the action against Iraq. So Canada said that they would not be active in the Gulf War, but they still sent militants to help. They also sent tanks and aircrafts. This is only one example in the article Canada in Iraq, the Hidden War. This is important because this shows the world that Canada doesn't want to just fight people. They want peace within the world. We should care about this because if Canada went around disturbing every country, this could cause another world war, and we do not want that to happen. Canada has a lot of brave men and women volunteering in the military. Canada has a lot of brave men and women who serve in this amazing country's military. They protect us and other countries' citizens on an everyday basis. But who protects them? Well, they protect each other while the enemy tries to kill them with roadside bombings, landmines, and suicide attacks. They do this to inflict as much damage on troops and military machine as possible. This happens all the time, according to a Canadian troops as they prepare for war. This takes a huge amount of courage and bravery to go to a hostile country and risk their lives. This is important because this makes every Canadian proud that we live in a country who proves we care about others. We should care about the soldiers because they are making a huge risk while you're sitting down on your butt listening and reading this. They are out in the heat, cold, rain, snow, and every possible weather you imagine, carrying heavy equipment all day, and the least you could do is applaud for their bravery. This would be greatly appreciated. Canada is slowly increasing the awareness and cures for mental illness in the military and injuries, such as PTSD. Mental illness is a huge issue, not just in Canada, but the whole world. The biggest mental illness in military is post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. The government is finally becoming more aware of troops who have it, mainly because the troops who have it are starting to come forward about it. Soldiers have always been expected to suck it up when they find themselves under extreme stress, such as when they're in the battlefield and they're getting bombed by tanks or other military enemies. Any other behavior is considered to be a sign of weakness, and that's why they don't really want to come forward. In the article, Healing the Invisible Wounds of War, it states, in the past few years, more than 5,000 soldiers with PTSD are now receiving veterans' disability payments. Senior members of the military have thrown their support behind the programs to change the culture of the Canadian Forces and its attitude towards mental illness. With the support of more and more soldiers coming forward and pushing to find a cure for PTSD and other brutal injuries they served on the battlefield, this is important because tons of troops suffer from PTSD and injuries. They deserve to find and receive a cure for them. They helped us have a free country. The least you can do is applaud them, and they deserve to be free from the memories of war. Canada has a very smart and strong military. Canadians are very lucky. We have a smart and strong military defending us at all times and other allied countries. To prove that Canada is very strong, in the Boer War, Canada attempted to deny the Boers the food, water, and lodging, like housing. Canada troops burned Boer houses and farms down. This is proven in the article The Boer War. Canada is proven to have a smart military because 8 Canadian warships took turns in Korean waters protecting UN, also known as United Nations, which Canada and many other countries are a part of, aircraft carriers, exploding enemy trains along the coast and helping other onshore operations. So they had planes circling above the waters and above land for help when needed. This is very smart because this does not allow the enemy to track the planes because they're constantly changing. And plus, by adding the support to the water and land, this allows them to advance faster and more effectively. So, like, they had planes constantly going in and out of the battle airspace. This is important because this allows Canada to be a dominant force on the battlefield, and it proves we are an effective one. Wars are disastrous to both humans and the planet itself. The wars have massive effect on humans and the planet. For example, in World War II, it took place on every continent except for Antarctica. World War II, quote, killed millions of lives, and an estimated 50 million people, both combatants and civilians, died in battle or by execution, disease, or starvation, end of quote. The war also caused irreparable damage to the natural environment and to the world's vegetation, such as trees, crops, bushes, etc. The detonation of the 2 atomic bombs in Japan at the end of World War II brought a glimpse of terror of nuclear war. The world would have to live with weapons that have a potential to kill millions in moments, and needed to kill the whole human race. Like, as soon as you set off a bomb, like, many people would die from the explosion. Plus, after that, the radiation will also kill another more millions. This is very scary for the next war because atomic bombs cause a lot of damage and kill tons and tons of people. We should care about this because if another war breaks out, there will be the use of atomic bombs for sure. And this will affect the planet for many, many years to come. During the First World War, it was the bloodiest conflict in Canadian history, taking the lives of nearly 61,000 Canadians. And they still haven't included all the civilians that have been killed in the war and all the enemies that's been killed. We're excited.